welcome to another episode of Going All In, Get the Edge You Need to Succeed. I'm Dr. Erin McKinley, and today we're doing Casual Friday in the office, recording this on New Year's Eve. I know I promised that the first husband of dietetics, Brian McKinley, would be with me on this episode, but he rarely gets time off from his job. So I am relieving him of his podcast duties this week and just taking this solo to kind of wrap up 2021 and give you a preview of what to expect in 2022. All right, diving right in. 2021 was a really awesome year for the podcast, year 2 officially of Going All In, Get the Edge You Need to Succeed. We recorded 55 episodes this year. I don't know if I can beat that in 2022, but I can certainly try. We had amazing programs come on the podcast through our spotlight sessions to give us information about their programs, their graduate programs, their dietetic internship and supervised practice programs, anything and everything that they wanted to let you know about their programs so that you apply and maybe go there when it's time for you to get to that part of the journey to RD. Our number one spotlight session of 2021 was a clear winner, if we had an award to give. It was episode 38, which was the Veteran Affairs Dietetic Internship Overview with Kim Matwajow from the St. Louis location, who gave us an overview of pretty much all of the VA locations, in addition to information about any graduate programs that are starting to connect to those different VAs as we get closer to that graduate deadline. And so that episode continues to grow in views as folks are becoming less and less intimidated by that. The VAs always had that reputation of being extremely competitive, and I do feel that's probably still a reality. But if you qualify for those programs, go after them. You never know what's going to happen. And so our number one episode of 2021 that wasn't a spotlight session was episode 67, which my husband was on that one, the Body Art in Dietetic Internships and the Workplace with Brian McKinley. We recorded that in his studio here in Baton Rouge at High Resolution Tattoo and had a really awesome conversation about how our worlds collide, in that he has, over the years, the past decade of being an artist, that he has tattooed many health professionals. And we talked about how health professionals go about making the decisions on where those pieces are going to go, if they choose to hide them or not. It's becoming an increasingly popular topic ever since we did before the podcast, and then thereafter with some recent posts on social media and LinkedIn with some professionals out there that are choosing to not hide what they have for artwork because they know it is not a symbol of how good they are at their job and whatnot. This episode continues to be popular with folks who just really want some advice on those areas. And so I will say with that episode, that is purely the opinion of myself and my husband, my view of it as a program director that mentors students to really make sure that they're setting themselves up for success to get through that journey to RD, and then thereafter really making decisions for themselves as what's going to work for them and what will work for the workplace that they end up in. And so I didn't really announce this on the podcast. It was just kind of said on social media, but I do intend to change the format of this podcast a little bit in 2022. And so the reason for that is my job here at LSU is changing. So to go back to the beginning a little bit, when the podcast first started, I really didn't see any issue with promoting other graduate programs and dietetic internships because LSU does not have a dietetic internship. Yes, we do have a graduate program and at the master's and PhD level in nutrition, but those are not in direct competitions with the types of programs that we have on the podcast because we're missing that element of the internship. And so since August of 2020, I've been doing these spotlight sessions in hopes that not just my students, but students across the US will benefit from getting this information so they can make a more informed decision on where they want to apply and hopefully do their supervised practice and maybe a graduate program. And so my role here at LSU is changing a little bit. I will still be the DPD director for this department. So still going to be really pushing my students to be putting themselves out there and really becoming the best applicants they possibly can be for both grad schools and supervised practice. So my seniors that are graduating this year, they're the last class that has that option of pursuing a solo DI and not really going after a master's right now if they don't want to. So everybody going forward needs to have this master's and DI mindset. And so I will continue to do what I do best and make them as successful as possible in their pursuits of that. Starting on January 1st, 2022, I am now the School of Nutrition and Food Sciences advisor for the entire graduate program, which includes our Masters of Science in Nutrition, Molecular Nutrition, Food Science, and Technology. And that also includes the PhD programs of those same concentrations. So now I do believe that there is going to be a slight conflict of interest because I am now directly overseeing those graduate programs, and I don't want to be causing any problems with anything here at LSU by promoting other programs. So I do have 4 spotlight sessions that are still on the books for January. I wanted to squeeze a few more in before that February 15th die-cast deadline. And I had booked most of these before the conversation was even beginning with me possibly or potentially taking over the graduate program. And so I still will keep my word and do those spotlight sessions for you for those programs so you can get that information, because I think these programs that are coming up are going to be really great episodes. But then after February 15th, we will not be doing any more spotlight sessions with programs that have a graduate component outside of LSU. And so if there are still some solo DIs that are out there, who knows what the climate of internships is going to look like this year, as programs really need to finalize their changes with the 2022 standards and to really get in line with the 2024 deadline for having a master's component, since DIs are now responsible for making sure that those that complete their internships also complete a master's degree. Okay, so what am I going to be talking about in the podcast if I'm not going to be doing spotlight sessions? I really want to move into doing alternative types of episodes that I really wanted to do since the beginning. I just saw the opportunity for the spotlight sessions as something that was easy to do. And those episodes are easy to record, easy to edit, easy to get out there. The alternative topics episodes do take a little bit longer. I do have some undergraduate students here at LSU and some mentees and other parts of the US that have been researching alternative topics for episodes for me over the last couple of months. So I do have some that I have researched out. I'm just kind of making decisions on if I want to talk about that topic myself or if I want to bring in a guest, and then who would that guest be? And so a lot of that does take a lot of planning. So I don't know if episodes will be weekly or if they're going to be bi-weekly, or they're just going to be very sporadic. Whenever we happen to push one out, we're able to get it out. But I hope to provide episodes in the future on really interesting topics that are still going to benefit dietetic students at the undergraduate level, but now I want to bring that graduate aspect into it. Now that I have under my wing or wings 2 complete graduate programs with nutrition students and food science students, I really want to bring that professional development aspect to them as well. And that will also benefit whoever's watching it across the US who happens to be in a master's or a PhD program themselves. And so I really want to do episodes on professional development books that I've read and kind of having some sort of dialogue about those, encouraging folks to reach out and to read those or to watch documentaries or certain things on the internet. I want to bring in more guests that have expertise outside of any expertise I might have, so that you can really be meeting dietitians, maybe they're not dietitians, but folks that are out there in the job force, in the workplaces, that can give you information to be successful as a student, and then at the entry level as you are moving through your journey to RD, to that first big job. I will continue to have alumni success stories. So bringing some of my LSU students back to tell their story about what was going on during that part of the journey when they did go to grad school, went through their internships, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad. Some of my alumni are comfortable with really talking about some of those things, and I want to give them the opportunity to share their experiences with our viewers. I definitely am going to continue after graduation each May to invite my seniors from the DPD program to come on the podcast and share their experience as an undergrad and to give their tips to others on what worked and what didn't work for them in their success throughout their undergraduate experience. And then I definitely want to bring in more fun professional development topics that would benefit anybody from the undergraduate through master's, PhD into their first job, either in industry or academia, healthcare, whatever that happens to turn out to be, to where you're really growing as a person, really building that emotional intelligence, really making sure you're putting your best self forward in any situation. A lot of times it doesn't necessarily have to do with being in the classroom or being in the workplace. It's about just being in every life situation as your best self, really making sure that the person that you're putting forward is the person that you have worked hard to build, and you want to make sure that you're presenting yourself properly. So like I said, I'm excited for this new year to see what's in store for us. You never know what is going to happen one day to the next, especially in our profession. So it'll be interesting to see what this year has in store from the academy, and underneath that umbrella from NDEP to the different DPGs. We're just going to see what happens, and that might inspire some episodes where we bring in some folks to talk about some things. And I also want to know what you want to see and hear this year. So always feel free to drop in the comments potential speakers, potential guests, potential topics, potential books, potential documentaries, whatever you want someone else's opinion about. It could be mine, it could be a potential expert. Let us know. You can DM me on Instagram at Dr. Erin McKinley or at going.all.in. We have 2 Instagrams. Let us know what you want to see. We are here to provide the best programming for you, the viewer. I really want to make sure that whatever we are putting out for content this year is useful to you, and that you will really look forward to these episodes when they're announced and we get them out for you. All right, I told you it was going to be a quick one. So I'm going to get busy learning everything there is to know about being the director of a graduate program. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of this podcast. We should have one maybe next week, the week after, but we'll definitely have a couple of spotlight sessions for you to check out. And as always, don't be afraid to reach out to us with your questions, comments, and anything else you want to share with us. And we'll see you more in 2022.